This, though, far more substantial. And then seeing the IHS or the Antimony King,
Yep.
or obverse of me on the other canyon is, what was it, the Lone Star?
No, the Loft House.
Loft House.
Yep.
And if my
Hoyt.
mental geometry is correct, that's roughly in a line.
I believe it is, yeah.
I believe they're exploiting the same structure. Looks like a siliceous dike that carried a lot of the antimonious mineralization with it. A lot of the sulfides, the pyrite, chalcopyrite, and the stibnite, which is our antimony. And it looks like it's elongate through here.
Yeah.
Which is good news for us. It means that likely this is continuous into the other canyon. I don't see why they'd have something. So the mountain sits like this.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're coming in this side here, and the Loft House is going in that side here.
Yep.
I don't see why they don't connect.
Meet in the middle. That makes sense.
I don't see how they couldn't. Granted, geology does some weird things. Maybe there's a fault that just cuts them off, but
Sure.
It seems far more likely that if it's extending this entire length coming through here, that it also extends there.
And that's I want to say 12 and a half miles as the crow flies that way on the Loft House, and then the Hoyt is 9 miles that way. So that's a pretty substantial strike.
If it is continuous. I didn't know it was a full 12 miles.
Yeah, it's 12.
Okay.
As the crow flies.
All right. So the proviso being bold claims require bold evidence.
Well said.
I would say hyperspectral, if you have outcrops on the surface, hyperspectral will show that up real quick. If not,
have you seen?
I think you can do aeromag because this is a siliceous host. This is not a mafic host. So this will not be magnetic.
Okay.
So we couldn't do aeromag.
The couple of outcrops we've seen, does that lead you to believe that there's a lot of rock in place on the surface, or no? What you got? Because I look through here, I see nothing.
Cover here.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't know what the depth of penetration is for hyperspectral. Maybe albedo. We could do something with surface albedo.
Okay.
And see. Maybe vegetation change. We could study some mapping, maybe fly the drone and see if there's a vegetation change, because sometimes certain
vegetation change.
Yeah, certain vegetation, like buckwheat, has an affinity for silver.
Okay.
So you'll often see buckwheat growing reasonably close to silver.
Well, I suppose we can research Nevada in this particular
see
area.
If anything has an affinity for any kind of antimonious. Again, that's speculation. That's not a method of exploration that's done often because it is pretty imprecise.
Gotcha.
For our antimony is not a highly traceable metal. It's similar to lithium in that it's going to be in a dead rock and it's going to be tough to see. You guys lucked out in with the hyperspectral in Arizona because you had surface outcrops.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like you'd have that here unless it's just a thin little veneer of topsoil. And we could fly the drone tomorrow maybe and take a look and see if we can see any white streaks heading over any of these ridges.
Yeah.
Then if there is, then maybe hyperspectral would be the way to go. Is hyperspectral cheap?
No, it's not cheap. It's cheaper than drilling, though.
Oh, well, yeah. Drilling is what we do once we prove it's continuous. And once we get that one in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah.
Because I'm really curious to drill. So
I
would put a drill here, and I drill straight down here, because this is in strike with this. One of my first drills, because it's already a nice pad.
Yeah. True.
And we have water, I would drill here for at least a test. And maybe we could use that as a reference point to set out a drill grid. Make this a zero datum.
I see.
And plot everything from this.
Yeah.
Because this would be ideal. It's the richest that we've seen so far, right in there.
Yep.
and we have a pad, and we know that they developed high grade.
We do. Yep.
So there would be something to support the conclusion that this would be ideal for drilling.
Huh, okay.
Especially if we brought in like a 2-man drill.
Yeah.
So that way we could do 300-400 feet of core.
Yep.
Because you and I could work that in a couple of days up here. Especially if we just...
Yeah,
like,
so that's...
it's coating some of that shale.
That's technically a surface. Well, I guess this is under surface. But like those
maybe. Yeah, this might be starting to stain some of the shale. It's not high grade by any means. It's just superficial coatings.
Yeah. Huh. Fascinating.
So yeah, long story short, working hypothesis is this makes a continuous dike, siliceous dike, striking roughly, what is that? So let's see.
Is it messing with the compass? Oh, I was gonna say, maybe there's your confirmation of magnetics.
Yeah, I dropped this in there, so it's a little sticky right now.
Oh, dang.
So, roughly, what's it? Striking about this way. Oh, that's almost east-west.
Really?
That is, yeah, it's about 92, 272. Which is ideal. I mean, it makes it easy, and it's, what, reposed at about 85 degrees. That makes it easy to chase. All right, so it seems like an easy one to track down.
It does.
Again, bold claims require bold evidence, but
of course.
if you come back here and look up and connect the dots, you look up and wherever the rock is white, that's the strike of this dike.
Yep.
So
Level 4 up there.
Coming over this way, and if we take a drone and chase it up over that hill that way,
yep.
If it's outcropping anywhere on that surface, we should be able to see it. And we've got what, a rock wall here or another adit?
Hey, that's a rock wall.
Okay.
We'll head down there a little bit. You can see the size and scope. That's probably where they ran ore.
Yeah, and they got some piping here.
See, that's my, look at all that infrastructure. That's why I was asking you inside. What the hell, why did they put so much time and money into this, including a stamp mill or a crusher, and they ran 85 feet of freaking tunnel. That's just bizarre to me.
And they brought in cement.
Right.
And you see that in the top there, they had some bagged cement up there.
Yep.
So
all that timbering, some of those were 16 by 16.
Yeah, and that's massive. You're bringing that in. You can't bring that in on a mule train. You need a truck.
Yeah, there was, I think there was a train route up in here at one point. That's kind of what partly killed the district, is when the train died, the railroad died. But yeah, look at that long concrete right there.
Yeah.
They put a lot of time and effort into this for two short little adits, you know?
Yeah, I can't. So either it's somebody's passion project
that
and they got stupid.
That could be.
Which we're looking at somebody who hid behind a bankruptcy law after they lost their ass.
That could be too. Gold fever has made people do crazy stuff. I imagine antimony fever is just as addictive.
Yeah, any kind of mining, people get spurious.
Enthusiastic.
Oh yeah, deeply so. Or during the war, shortly thereafter, antimony was hot.
That could be too, actually.
You depleted your ammunition in the war, so you needed it during, and then you wanted to build up your reserves afterwards.
Government threw some grant money around, and
God, yeah, they subsidized. This could have been largely subsidized too, to make it profitable. They could have just thrown money at this to drive the war machine.
That could be. Didn't think of that. And that's why it all sits largely untouched since the 40s and 50s.
That shell of that truck, that's late 40s, early 50s.
Probably, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because that looks like a Dodge D100 or something very similar.
You'll see a few bigger ones in there further in.
All right, so yeah, if they had the bigger ones and it's about that time period, then yeah, this is probably a war effort.
Yep.
Originally at least, and then it continued for a few years, and maybe continued off and on too. Because if it had any kind of substantial manpower in here, they probably would have gone farther in.
Yeah, I would think so. They can.
And you'd probably see evidence of bolting too.
That's true.
Because you'd want long-term support.
This whole district, I've been in a dozen, well, not a dozen, 7, 8 adits in here. None of them have any bolting or support of any type. I don't know if that's because the rock was good in here or they just were moving too fast, but
Yeah, probably it was. Also, I mean, it was all this stuff was done before MSHA existed.
that's true too.
I
Yeah.
mean, that wasn't around until '73, so there it was Bureau of Mines, and there was no safety regulation. There were no bolting standards. There was no ground audits.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to have it. The only time you would throw in bolting and take that time and expense is if you were having constant cave-ins or constant squeeze.
Okay.
If your timber can't support it, then you would want to bring in your bolting. But otherwise, you just use your jack leg to blast your next round, muck it out, and then do that. And
Makes
I'm
sense.
wondering how they muck this. If this is slusher stope or if this is just trolleys. This one looks like it was on a car tracks where they just had
Yeah.
the tipple here.
Probably brought it out and dumped.
Um,
And then I don't know how they got it from here. Maybe they stockpiled ore here.
oh
and
yeah,
that's
it
why.
would have been a large pile here, and they would have just been repeatedly shoveling it over.
So they ran everything because there's no more, I mean, other than that small pile, they ran everything.
I'm
See all
wondering-
that crushed rock? When we get down to the lower level, you'll see what I mean. It's like perfectly sized, classified crushed rock.
Yeah, so they had some kind of a crusher here on site. I'm
Yeah.
wondering, probably a mechanically operated
Yeah, you see the
ball mill.
V shape to the concrete
Yeah.
foundation there. So it must have been. We probably can research the type of machine that required that.